you all are doing well today. I wanted to talk to you about a conversation I recently had with one of my clients, and it was relating to interview preparation. There's a couple of mistakes that I want to talk about, really just two in this particular live video to help you on your journey so that you can interview very well. I want to start this live by saying people contact me all of the time about interview preparation. How can I prepare for my interview? What should I do for my interview? How can I interview better? Well, I'm here to show you that interviewing comes down to a very, 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 very simple phrase. Now, the phrase and the concept of it is not simple, but the phrase itself is. And interviewing comes down to communication skills. How well are you able to communicate with other people and articulate your value? So, I'm going to share with you two mistakes that I have seen people make often when they are trying to interview for different positions. Now, I would like to say hello to everyone. I appreciate you all for joining today. And if you have any questions as it relates to interview mistakes, let me know. If there are any specific challenges that you have faced during the interview, or perhaps you have an interview that's coming up tomorrow and you want to get some support and maybe ask a question or two, I encourage you to use my over 20 years of experience as a C-suite executive, a manager, and a director that has done hundreds of interviews and looked at hundreds of resumes and has been a public speaker for 20 years to help you communicate at that higher level as a woman in leadership. Now, I want to start off by the first mistake that people make. The first mistake that people make in their interview is that they are not comfortable talking about themselves. I believe this comes up from our childhood. We are oftentimes shushed, when we are younger, when it comes to talking about ourselves. You may be asking, why is that? Well, we're taught to not brag, or we're taught to not talk too much about ourselves, oftentimes when you're younger. And I would like to challenge this mentality by saying that it's important for you to talk about yourself. And it's important for you to not necessarily be arrogant, but you should brag about yourself and about some of the major accomplishments that you have completed in your life. This is very, very important. So instead of being quiet and not saying anything about yourself, start becoming more comfortable about talking about your accomplishments and the amazing things that you have done in your career. This is by far one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make. Hello, nice to meet you here. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they are preparing for interviews. Hello, everyone. I'm going over a big interview mistake, so I'm going to talk about it. I'll give you a recap in just a second, but thank you for joining. But this is a big interview mistake that people make. And a lot of this comes from our childhood. And so if you're just now joining, I'm providing you all with really two big interview mistakes that people make when they are trying to prepare for an interview. And that first mistake is to not talk about themselves. Oftentimes, people are very, very, very timid when it comes to talking about themselves and also talking about how they have been able to accomplish different things. So, one way for you to get over not feeling comfortable talking about yourself is an exercise that I give to my clients that are working with me for interview preparation sessions. And what we do in our sessions is to have them write down some of the accomplishments that they have done over the past couple years. In addition to the accomplishments that they've done, I also have them to talk about what accomplishment they are most proud of. Because most of the time, when you have an accomplishment that you're very proud of, you want to talk about it. You want to talk about it a lot and be able to show that enthusiasm to the interviewer. So I'm letting you know that this is one of the mistakes that I want you to avoid. This is a major, major communication mistake that people make when they are interviewing, and that is to not talk about themselves. There's ways for you to become more comfortable talking about yourself and talking about your accomplishments. When you're able to master this aspect of your communication skills, then you will be able to show yourself as the very confident executive that is interviewing for a position. So I want to know from you, have you ever struggled with talking about yourself in an interview? Place it in the comments below. Let me know if you have, and if you have any questions specifically as it relates to interviewing, the process. Maybe you have an interview question you want to ask me. I encourage you to use my 20 years of experience as a C suite, as a director, as a manager to really help you on your journey. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll keep an eye on the chat and be able to answer them and provide you with some insight, especially if you have an interview coming up, or maybe you just want to get more information so you can be fully prepared for your next interview. Now, the second mistake that I see people make when they are interviewing for positions, we talked about one that's directly related to how you communicate, and that is not talking about themselves. The second mistake that people tend to make when they are interviewing for positions is to not articulate their value, especially what they can add to an organization. So there's one part of it where you are speaking about yourself. You're talking about your accomplishments, what you have done in the past, but then there's the other part of it too. How can you help this specific organization? People really struggle with that because they just don't know what to say. And as I mentioned at the very beginning of this particular live, when people ask me about interview preparations, how do I prepare for an interview? What should I do? It all comes down to communication skills. That is it. It's not complicated. The communication skills come from your resume, it comes from how you speak and all that. So, what are some things that you can do to help show your value to an organization? Oftentimes when I'm working with my clients and they're preparing for their interviews, or we're doing practice interview sessions and I'm asking them interview questions to prepare them for their interviews, what I like for them to do is take a very close look at the job description that you're applying for. And when I mean close look, I mean close look. Look at the job description, look at the responsibilities, look what they are wanting to have in a person that is applying for this specific role, and reflect on your own experiences in terms of how you can use your experiences to help them with what they are looking for specifically in a responsibility. Let me share with you an example of this. If you're applying for a job in a role that is, let's say, related to project management, and you have done a lot of different projects in your career, and perhaps on the job description, it says they want somebody that can manage multiple projects at once, which we all know that is project management, is managing multiple projects at once. You may want to say in your interview at some point in the conversation how you have been able to manage multiple projects at once that related to project A, project B, project C, and how you were able to get a successful outcome with those projects. And your experiences in project management will be an asset to your organization based off of the mission, vision, values, or goals, or newsworthy articles that have been published about the specific organization that you are interviewing for. This is a way for you to truly set yourself up as an exceptional candidate because you're able to bring in your experiences and talk about your experiences in a way that highlights your experience but also shows what you can bring to an organization. A lot of people don't think about this. When they go into interviews, they feel like they just need to talk about themselves and that's it. So it's not it. This is what I would recommend for you to do. Even if you're not a public speaker, When we're public speaking, it is about the audience. It's about what the audience is looking for, what the audience wants to hear, what is going to engage the audience. So think about this in the way when you are interviewing. Think about what the interviewer wants to hear, what the interview may be more interested in, and try to formulate your responses, cater to the individual, cater to the position, cater to the goals and the vision and the values of the organization that will impress them and make them very interested. This is high level insider secrets that I'm sharing with my audience here on YouTube because a lot of people don't talk about this. There's a lot of interview coaches out there that will say, oh, you need to talk about yourself, you need to talk about this, but they don't really dive into that detail as to specifically how you can really make an interview go very well. And I'm sharing this from a perspective as a public speaker because this is a mini public speaking session in terms of an interview. A lot of people think interviewing is definitely not public speaking. They think public speaking is only for major conferences, TEDx, and YouTube, and different other events. Public speaking is a part of your life every single day. When you are speaking one on one, you are speaking in a group, you are speaking to a set of coworkers, you're speaking to a large audience. Public speaking is a part of life. And one of the things that I am very passionate about, especially as it relates to public speaking for women in leadership, is that I want us to understand that public speaking is not something to be afraid of. It is something you can learn, it is something that you can master. It is something that is a part of your life. And if you want to present yourself as an executive, have those higher level communication skills, and advance in your career, earn more money, generate revenue for your businesses, and be able to make that big impact on the world that you want to make, public speaking is something you need to start doing immediately because that is the most important skill that you need to have outside of confidence. I've talked about that many times on my YouTube channel, and there's a lot of different videos here to support you on your journey as it relates to that. So I want to know from you, what are some of your thoughts? Has this information been helpful to you? This is a live session. So let me know what your thoughts are. And for those of you who have just joined, I'm going to share with you two mistakes that people make. These are two mistakes that people make when they are interviewing for positions. And the first mistake is that people are not comfortable talking about themselves. You'll want to watch the rest of this live video to go into more detail about that. The second mistake that people make is that they are not comfortable about talking about how they can be an asset to an organization. These are mistakes that people often make in an interview. And if you want to have some support and learn how to feel more comfortable talking to other people and feel more comfortable being able to articulate your value to an employer and show them why you are the superstar and the best candidate for the position, you'll want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll definitely want to finish watching this live video because I talk a bit more about that. I have a lot of different resources that can help you. I have several master classes that I'm going to be hosting within the next month before the end of quarter one. One of those is going to be on interview preparation and salary negotiation. So if this is a topic that you want to learn more about, then you'll definitely want to follow me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, here on YouTube, as well on Facebook to know when that masterclass will be released. There's a couple other masterclasses I want to highlight very briefly that will be very helpful to you as well as a woman in leadership. One is about executive presence development. Another is about elite communication skills at work. And the last masterclass is going to be on public speaking and presentation skills. These are going to help change the game for you as it relates to quarter one. I'm going to make sure it's engaging. It's just like some of my other master classes. And if you've participated in any of my master classes so far, you know that they are very helpful. They're very engaging. You can check out the reviews that are on my website at exciteexcellence.org to see some feedback that I've actually received from some of the individuals that participated in my free masterclasses. So this is a great opportunity for you to get some additional support. If you are ready to really dive deep into your confidence, check out the confidence game plan. It's in the description below. And if you're ready to get that next level one-on-one customized support to help you communicate at a higher level or start communicating at a higher level in 1 week, then you definitely want to sign up for the communication skills audit. The link is in the description below. I will show you what you are doing that is making your communication style very strong, and I will show you what you're doing that is taken away from how you're communicating that may be preventing you from accelerating and advancing in your career. So if you have any questions, place them in the comments below. Any questions you have as it relates to interviewing. Have you had challenging interviews? I know I've had challenging interviews. I've had multiple interviews with multiple people and several people at one time. So if you've had any challenges interview wise, let me know if you have any specific interview questions that you need some support with. Maybe you have an interview coming up and you have a question about it. I'm here to support you. I'm here to really help you on your journey. And I want to definitely be a resource to you to help you accelerate your career growth and advance in your careers. So if you have any other questions, let me know. If you're watching the replay, place them in the comments below. I definitely will make sure that I answer them. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.